Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you, Global Source invitation to share about the e-commerce in Southeast Asia, sport and outdoor growth. Well, indeed, it is a very big topic. That's why today, in the next 30 minutes of time, I can only cover some key points, but I prepare a QR code. You can scan it, fill in some information. I prepare an ebook, free ebook for you. In this ebook, it covers more about the Southeast Asia e-commerce landscape, some obstacles and the tactics about how we conduct e-commerce in Southeast Asia. Well, personally, I developed business in e-commerce market 10 years ago, back to 2015. At that time, I was working in Lazada. Lazada is one of the biggest e-commerce marketplace in Southeast Asia. And later on, it belonged to Alibaba Group. And after I left Lazada, I built my own company, Just Group. We are the e-commerce enabler. We support the brand enterprises, companies in Hong Kong to develop the e-commerce in Southeast Asian markets. We have a masterclass consultancy, and we work with a lot of partners to provide to end-to-end integrated e-commerce solution. And also, Hong Kong E-commerce Supply Chain Association, we are the first and the only one in Hong Kong tailored for the e-commerce executive doing e-commerce Southeast Asia oriented. And later, we have SEA321.com. We are a platform to provide lots of in-market intelligence about e-commerce in Southeast Asia. Okay, basically today I will go through three main topics. The first is the e-commerce ecosystem in Southeast Asia. Secondly, why Southeast Asia we have to focus on. Thirdly, to share a little bit about the go-to-market strategy. However, the go-to-market strategy is a very big topic as well. We have channel strategy, pricing strategy, trending, marketing, a lot of things. But I will more focus on the pricing strategy, emphasize the value of the brand to do the branding. Okay, to start off with, here, illustrate the e-commerce ecosystem of Lazada. Okay, if you see here, we have some essential building blocks. We have logistics, we have payments, we have a category solution. That means how we sell our product locally or cross-border. And we have different kinds of seller solution. But they are highly linked up together by data. So in order for us to develop the e-commerce business, we have to do all things within the e-commerce ecosystem. But right now in the market is quite piece by piece. For example, if the company doing payment, they will tell you about the payment. Same as logistics, same as digital marketing. So it is very complicated ecosystem. And then as I said, I put some QR code here. You can contact me, and also you can scan it, fill in some information, and scan the ebook. I will put this QR code later on in some slide during my presentation. Okay, why Southeast Asia? We heard a lot about Southeast Asia. In particular, during the recent US-China tariff or global trade argument, that make a lot of enterprises in Hong Kong in particular to develop a new market, in particular Southeast Asian market. There are two major reasons. Okay, if you look at our left-hand side, start in 2023, the growth of the e-commerce in Southeast Asia already ranked at #1 globally. That is 18.6% YOY, highest globally. Okay, this point #1. Secondly, at our right-hand side, we need to pay attention to the percentage retail made online. Percentage retail made online. You see here in Southeast Asia is only 10%. Okay, in compared to China, already 51%. That means, put in other words, there's a huge potential in Southeast Asian markets. Oh, about sport and outdoor markets in particular, three things here. The first is the growth already exceeds 100% annual growth, and the market size surpassing $300 million already. It's a very huge potential to growth. Secondly, when we talk about Southeast Asia, we major focus on 6 key countries: Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. They're the key 6 Southeast Asian markets we have to pay attention. Thirdly, I draw some data to illustrate further industry. The data are from Shopee and Lazada, which are the 2 of the largest regional marketplaces in Southeast Asia. In June last year, I draw the data and demonstrate to you. Okay, further we break down into market size by country. You see here the 6 key countries. Vietnam leads the ports and outdoor e-commerce sector in South Asia, holding a 23.5% share of the regional market, 1/4 already in Vietnam. Okay. The next is Philippines, closely with 21.8% market share, while we can see Thailand 19.6%, Indonesia 18%. That represents substantial but slightly smaller proportion of the market. And lastly, Malaysia contribute 11.8%, with Singapore quite mature, everyone know, but compact market accounting for 5.3% of the regional sales. Okay. When we talk about category breakdown, okay, even sport and outdoor, we have many different categories. Here, I named the key 4 major categories. Come to the top is the equipment. That account for more than 50%, 52.8%. Is the most important category, the equipment. That really lead the way, and followed by sportwear, 30.2%, accessory, 16.1%, and lastly, liquors, 14%. Okay, so it really depends on what kind of commodity or category you are doing, and then you see how you prioritize or we fine-tune your strategy. Okay, this slide talk about country-specific consumer preference. Oh, let's go through it one by one. At our left-hand side, Vietnam and Singapore, they have strong preference for sportwear. Sportwear for Vietnam and Singapore. In the middle, Philippines, they are more focused on the accessory. At the right-hand side, Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia, they are more favors liquors. So again, it depends on your company strategy, and then you will focus on which country you're going to target. Okay, after we understand about the ecosystem, e-commerce, their essential building blocks, and also why Southeast Asia is going very fast, the e-commerce, in particular the outdoor and sports. Let's move on. Hey, how we can do this? So what are the go-to-market strategy? Okay, here I highlight 3 levels of strategy for your reference. The first is target market specialization. Develop country-specific strategy. So as I mentioned earlier, SEA, Southeast Asia as a whole, they are going very fast. The e-commerce, in particular outdoor and sport category. Equipment contribute to be the main emphasis. Remember the category breakdown, equipment. And also remember, every country, they are quite different in terms of the consumer preference. And pay attention to the major category equipment and then country specific. This is the first level. The second level is category optimization. You prioritize equipment while building secondary categories. Okay? Because equipment, more than 1/3 equipment, and every country specific. So you can consider to develop the main category, the equipment, and also the secondary accessory, which is country specific. The last level is regional expansion. Remember the country breakdown? Vietnam come to the top. So you may consider to start with Vietnam, and then you scale across the Southeast Asia region. But having said that, Southeast Asia is an emerging e-commerce market. That's why, in particular, if you're a new brand, it is important to build a solid brand positioning. Solid brand positioning. I will elaborate more later on. Okay, before I go into the branding, the value, all sorts of stuff. Okay, here is a survey by McKinsey shortly after the pandemic. Okay, it studied what are the criteria the consumer in Southeast Asia choose the brand, no matter it is new brand or old brand. So the three main category, if you can see the right hand side, the value, say the better price, promotion, better shipping, delivery cost, convenience, whether it is available when I'm shopping, availability, product are in stock. Okay, they are talking about the logistics, the supply chain side. The supply chain experience, the delivery experience, and also a cost effective. That's why we have to pay attention to the supply chain, the logistics side, if we develop the e-commerce strategy in Southeast Asia. But of course, we encounter a lot of obstacles. I'll just name a few. Whether it's lack of local expertise in Southeast Asia, supply chain bottleneck, market uncertainty, barrier to market access. But maybe we talk about AI right now. Maybe there's an AI gap of your company in compared to the industry. So we have to pay attention to all this. In particular, I believe is the AI application right now. Okay, looking ahead to 2025, what are the opportunities for merchants in Hong Kong? I'll just name a few here. Start from our left-hand side. Okay, how to do localization, which based on the local festival culture. Okay, how to lay out the sales channel, say no matter it is your own channel or wholesale channel, whatever, or social media, how we mix the different channel. The third is how to find the right value for your product. Remember what I said is, if you're a new brand, go in Southeast Asia, the branding, the positioning is very important. What's the opportunity? How to grasp the opportunity for new product development. We talk about the speeding. We have to be very fast to have your new product to launch in the new market. So what is the business opportunity track? Say, what is the trend over there? What the consumer prefer in Southeast Asia? But because of time, I can only focus on the value positioning. I will share more about the value positioning. So, have you ever think about this question? Is it possible to win in the market with the best product or service in the industry? What do you think? Okay, if I have the best product, is that I will win in the new product? Do you think so? No, I see some audience. No, yeah. Well, indeed, it's not at all. Not at all. Because we see a lot of research indicated that the company who win, not because of they have the best product, but they have the best marketing strategy. The best marketing strategy that can bring out the value on one side, and also you understand the consumer preference, and then you do the matching. But it is hard. If I'm a merchant, I'm also a merchant. In Lazada and Alibaba, we have a lot of merchants go in service market. We came across a dilemma of, okay, whether we differentiate with our competitor in price or features or psychological benefits. Okay, for price, whether I have the lowest price, but in order for you to have the pricing competitive, you have to the lowest price structure to sustain this. If the feature, nowadays we find that it is more and more difficult to differentiate the feature of your product with other competitor. Because we are using the same technology. For example, ChatGPT, we are using the same. The barrier is very low. That's why it is very hard to differentiate our value. So that's why we have to focus on the psychological benefit. That means we try to make the intangible benefit to be the tangible benefit, which I will cover it more. So here is very important. We focus on the value, but how we can do this? Here I just based on the Southeast Asia consumer to name 4 tactics for your reference. From our left-hand side, for the Southeast Asia consumer, they emphasize what I buy is what I need. The background logical thinking is because their income is not so high, and mostly they keep their day-to-day expenses low. That's why if they buy online, they expect the product or service is weekly available to use. So maybe you can fine-tune, you need to fine-tune your product features to emphasize they are ready to use. Second is, what the real meaning for value for money? Value for money doesn't mean, doesn't equivalent to mere low price. Value for money doesn't mean or equivalent to low price. But that has to be match each category its own specific price psychological range that can match the consumer preference. Interesting that because for every category of the product, we have some pricing range. And also for the consumer preference, also there's some pricing range. What we have to do here is to do the matching. To make sure your product, the pricing range, you have to set the best pricing to match the best pricing expectation from your consumer. What can do is you try to go to the e-commerce marketplace, and then you do some research to see, okay, what are your competitor pricing is about, and then you benchmark, fine-tune. Fourthly, we have some strategy that can grow the value for money. For example, you create some favorite environment, some promotion, you provide some added value, and then you build some price comparison. Say you compare other competitors, the product, to let the consumer know your product is the best for value. Lastly, here I emphasize, I think it's one of the most important strategy a lot of merchants doing well in Southeast Asia. I use TikTok Shop as an example. Well, I think in particular in these 2 years, TikTok Shop, we see a very fastest growth in Southeast Asia. Okay, basically, there are 2 scenario operation. At our left-hand side is a contact-driven scenario. There are 2 parts here. The first is live stream. The second is short video. Okay, so you have to make use of the live stream, short video. Probably you make use of the local KOL in Southeast Asia to help you to promote the products. So the logic behind is that the Southeast Asia consumer, when they pay the mobile phone, randomly I can say, and they are attracted by the KOL, attracted by the context of the product. that arise their interest. This is point number one. Point number two is they have confidence of the KOL who promote your product. Okay, the first is the contact, you attract them. Secondly is they have confidence, they have faith of the KOL, and then they would have the buying impulse to buy your product. Okay, this is the contact scenario. And our right-hand side is kind of traditional product page, or what we call is shelf scenario. It's what, for example, Shopee or Lazada or Taobao doing. Okay, that means you put your product on the shelf. You put your product on the shelf, A, B, C, D, E. And then if the consumer have the leads, and then they research the keywords of the platform, and then, of course, you have to do some promotion beforehand, attract them, and they will buy the product. So I would suggest we can make use of two different scenarios, the contact scenario on the left-hand side, and also the shelf scenario on the right-hand side. Okay. And one of the good things is that, through the e-commerce, it is the fastest way. Also, it don't cost you too much. It is the fastest way for you to test your product. Say, okay, whether my products have the market, instead of you invest a lot in Southeast Asia. And then once you got a feedback from the market, and then you can think about the next step. Which platform am I going to? Shopee, Lazada, or TikTok, and also, or we develop our own marketplace, online or offline or combination. Okay, lastly, here I left my QR code. As I said earlier in the first beginning, it's a very big topic. I can only cover the main topics within the 30 minutes of time. But feel free to scan my QR code, my company, and also the association. And also, here is the ebook. At your right-hand side, the blue one, is a free. Scan it, free and some information. The ebook have a lot of information, give you a very brief overview of the Southeast Asia e-commerce market, the obstacle, a little bit tactics, and also there is QR code within the ebook for some early bird discount of our masterclass, which expected to be launched next month. So a very quick sum up. As I said earlier, e-commerce market in Southeast Asia is booming, is growing very fast. Outdoor and sport market is a very tremendous growth in Southeast Asia. But having said that, a lot of obstacles, the legal, the policy, the marketing, in particular how you bring out the value to differentiate with your competitors. Also, I highlight some context scenario, the shelf scenario for your reference. That is the fastest way for you to test your product in the Southeast Asian market. And then after that, you can fine-tune your strategy, different online channel, offline channel, or combination to develop the e-commerce market in Southeast Asia. And okay, this is all my presentation today. And see, are there any questions from the audience in the next 5 minutes of time? Thank you.